The US Supreme Court yesterday gave a boost to Donald Trump's presidential election campaign after ruling that Colorado and other states cannot kick him off the ballot over the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Colorado is among 15 states to vote in today's Super Tuesday primaries. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Republican strategist and former chair of the Nevada Republican Party, Amy Tarkanian. Amy, good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk first of all about that Supreme Court ruling. I thought probably expected, but a unanimous ruling from the judges, and it's a conservative majority, but there were certainly liberal judges on that, basically saying, look, this guy has a right to be on the ballot paper. This isn't a decision for an individual state to make. Were you expecting that? And do you think it was the right decision?
Yes and yes. And actually, I think, unfortunately, this scenario sort of minimizes some of, say, the more serious indictments that he's facing. You have people in his base that have actually said that he is being politically persecuted. And that was actually a really good example of that mind thought. It was expected to be unanimous. And I think now you've got people who say, well, you know, the rest of it all kind of fits into the same situation, which it clearly does not when you're talking about business dealings, financial fraud, paying, you know, someone hush money to cover up when you're running for an election. And so now you have people who actually say, oh, well, we would still vote for him if he were behind bars, which is ludicrous. So it was an unfortunate situation. I think that backfired.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, look, I think that all of the cases being brought against the former president are completely legitimate cases, and I think he could legitimately be convicted in any one of them. However, I do think they are also politically motivated. I think those things can both be true at the same time, and I also think they are helping him, not harming him. We see, don't we, every time he's brought to court, another boost in the polls, and it feeds into this narrative, as you say, of him being persecuted. Whereas really, what they should want to do is, you know, Democrats should, if he's so awful, if what he's done is so awful, well, you should easily be able to beat him at the ballot box. And that's where the Democrats are failing. And I would say that's also where the Republican rival candidates have failed. Ron DeSantis looked great on paper, the Florida governor, but just didn't go anywhere, really. Nikki Haley hanging on in there. I mean, the woman is clinging on by her fingernails, isn't she? She's won Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. That's the one primary she's won. We've got 15 states, one U.S. territory as well, Samoa, that have been competing for the primary votes today. Realistically, she's unlikely to take any of those. What happens then?
It's unfortunate because I really like Governor Nikki Haley, but I think that she came out way too late swinging at the former president. She has an excellent message, and she keeps pointing out how he is surrounded by chaos, he's toxic, he's a bully, and but I think she, as I just mentioned, she came out stating these facts and these characterizations of him, which are correct, way too late in the game. But it is interesting to see, though, even though she keeps pursuing and pushing forward, you do have a number of Republicans, it's roughly 4 in 10, that are not happy with a possible nomination of Donald Trump once again. And so it doesn't help himself at all when he actually tells people that we're getting rid of what he calls Romney Republicans. And so they are removing Republicans from actually even entering into some of his rallies. I happen to know a political office holder who's been a lifelong Republican who did endorse Governor Ron DeSantis when he was still in the race. And he was not allowed to enter Trump's rally here in the state of Nevada because he's not a purist.
Just creates
so I'm
more
not exactly sure what their strategy is for the general when they need to bring all of these other Republicans back into the fold.
Yeah, and incredibly vindictive actions that he often takes. But we know also the American public not that happy about Joe Biden, the incumbent Democrat president, running again. I mean, God, we've had this debate so many times. You know, he's what, 81? The man is clearly not compos mentis anymore. Frankly, it's ridiculous, and I would say borderline obscene that this man is still in office now, let alone should run for another 4 years from next January in office. It's untenable, and especially with Kamala Harris, who's clearly, frankly, an idiot. and should be
I
nowhere
blame
near
the
a public office.
Democrats. Right, and I blame the Democrats for keeping him in as their nominee. I mean, it's inevitable. He's going to be their nominee. But you also look at polling across the nation, and it doesn't matter which polling company, left-leaning, right-leaning, center, and he is tanking. He's either even or tanking with his own party. Yeah. Demographics who have historically voted pretty handily for Democrats. He's also struggling with whether it deal with African Americans, Hispanics, or even the Muslim community. And so, you know, this is Donald Trump's best scenario, is that they keep Biden as their nominee.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, rerunning it bizarrely. They say that Trump is the only Republican who could beat Biden and Biden's the only Democrat who could beat Trump. You know, I do this to you all the time. Like, you know, has anything changed since last time we spoke on this in terms of what the outcome could be? I think everyone's pretty sure, bar someone having a heart attack or some extraordinary events happening in the courtrooms of Donald Trump, we are looking at these two men. Most people, they've gone fishing by this age, frankly, but these two men running for the most important job in the world, influences everything else that happens in the world. You know, so we all have a stake in it. Who do you think's going to win?
I wish that I weren't saying this, but once again, any poll you look at, you put those two men head to head, they're within the margin of error with each other. And it does have Trump with a slight edge. So I'm going to have to, at this point, say it'd be Donald Trump. Yeah,
indeed. Given that the poll said he wasn't anywhere near it in 2016, and then he did win, and in 2020, nowhere near it, and then he came very close. I mean, again, who knows which way to call it, but it does look like it's going to be another Trump presidency. That's what it suggests now. Amy Tarkanian, always so good to talk to you. Thank you so much indeed, Republican strategist there in Nevada.